Well, it's John Black, Super Chemist. Here again. I think this playlist is called All I Know About Wives / Marriage / Family / Psychology. I think we're on part 13. If you want to see all the videos in a row, go to my playlist and go to that playlist I just said. Let's see where we left off. Why a woman makes less. Like I said in the last video, why women got paid less, before the 60s, before civil rights and that, before they got the right to vote and all that. It's not only just because they could quit easily, because as soon as they got married, they quit, right? And not just because they didn't have families to support, like a lot of the reason if there's a man applying for it and a woman, they're going to obviously take the man because he has a family he has to support, and the woman doesn't. But there's also another reason that I didn't mention in that previous video when I was talking about this, right? Like 5 videos ago. Is the privilege. And this is what's funny, man. Privilege. I mean, women had the privilege to not work. They had that was a privilege. Okay? It's not a right to work. It was a privilege to not work. That's the privilege. So, but they wanted to give up the privilege. The privilege. They could still work. It's just they didn't have to. Because if 18-year-old girl, 20-year-old girl, she didn't get married yet, the dad took care of her. She worked, she lived at home, and the dad would pay for everything, and she would, eventually find a husband, Even if she was 30 years old, the daughter stayed at home and just, dated until she found a man. And so she never had, and if she got married, then by law, the man has to financially support her, give her a house and give her a car and all that kind of good stuff. Or she could take him to court and sue him, make the courts, tell him that he's got to give her a house. It doesn't have to be a house. That could be an apartment or whatever. But he has to give her some type of place to live at, and food and all that kind of stuff, or that he's going to go to jail. And trust me, the courts would throw a man into jail if you didn't provide for your woman and she took you to court. So if she would, it's totally lost my train of thought or whatever. So I'm going to move on to the next whatever. But that was why they had the privilege not to work. It wasn't like they were being oppressed. They had the privilege to not work. And they gave up their privilege to not have to work. They could work. Even a husband could have let his wife work or whatever, if she really wanted to. She just wouldn't get paid as much, and it'd be harder for her to find a job. But not like she could have been a secretary. There was many jobs for women that they could go get. There were many openings. It wasn't like it was impossible to be a secretary or whatever else, a teacher or whatever. They gave up that privilege. This makes sense, right? They gave up the privilege to the right to either work or not work. Now they have to work. Now they're forced to work because the dad kicks them out of the house at 18 if they want. That he's not obligated to take care of the woman anymore. Just like the husband. They could just break up and then, he's not obligated to pay her alimony. So anyways, let's move on to the next thing. Husband wants wife to be his mom. And okay. When a woman tells you, like let's say you're dating them for a while or whatever, and you're like, go make me a sandwich, you're just hanging out at your house or whatever, or her house, whatever, I don't know. Go make me a sandwich. And she says, I don't want to, you go do your sandwich, or you go get the pop out of the refrigerator, the beer out of the refrigerator. I'm not your mom. And then they'll have to do this. I've never had anyone do this to me, because I'd be like, fuck you, bitch. but And plus, I've never asked women actually anything to give me except for sex. And I'll get into something about that too later. But anyways, they'll say, "Oh, you want me to be your mommy? Do you need you can't do anything without your mommy? Do I have to do you be your mom?" All that kind of crap. Yeah. Don't get up and punch them in the face, even though that's what they deserve. Okay, don't do that. Okay, even though they definitely deserve it, don't do that. Okay. The whole argument to this thing is this is so ludicrous. You know what I mean? Obviously, mother and wife / girlfriend duties overlap, just like and lucky for you, right? Dad or father, responsibilities and husband responsibilities overlap 100% of the time. You know what I mean? So all you have to do is say, well, okay, if you don't want to be my mommy, I won't be your daddy. Okay? When we go out to eat, you can pay for your own meal. When we go out to this event, you can pay for your own ticket. From now on, I will only pay half of the bills since you don't want me to treat you. You don't want me to be your daddy, right? I mean, you're not a little girl. You're not a little girl who needs his daddy, are you? You need your daddy. You can't handle it. You can't handle life without your daddy. Paying all your bills, paying when you go out. Yeah. Then see how they change their mind. See what they say after that. See if they say, "Oh, okay, I'll go make your damn sandwich." Okay. Or they say, "Oh, that's." See, if after that they go make the damn sandwich in shame with their head down, then you know you got a good woman. Okay. Because even though she's brainwashed, she at least can use some common sense to say, "Oh, wait, maybe I was brainwashed on that one issue there." You know what I mean? You got a great woman then. Even though she was like, "No, man, what do you think?" And she belittles you. First of all, you belittle her back by saying whatever. And then when you're done, you also say, "Don't belittle me like that, okay? I'm your man. If you think belittling me, okay, is the road path that you take in our relationship, tell me now so we can break it off right now. Because I will not be belittled by you, okay? You're supposed to be my woman, not my belittler, okay? If you think that I deserve to be belittled, then you think I'm not a leader. If you think I'm not a leader, then this relationship is doomed, okay? I'm not going to be any part of it. That's the most ridiculous argument I've ever heard. "You want me? You think that you can't handle it? You need your mommy to go get your beer out of the refrigerator and go make your sandwich?" No, I just need you to act like a freaking woman. You know, it has nothing to do with being a mommy. Okay, like what the hell, man? But yeah, just tell him. Well, okay, I'll stop being your daddy then. Okay, because you can't handle life unless your daddy pays the bills. Oh, you can't pay your own bills because you need your daddy. You can't go to the restaurant because you need your daddy to pay. Is that what you mean? Do that to them. And then if she still refuses to make the sandwich, I suggest you or get the beer or whatever you ask. Okay. Keep in mind, this isn't the first couple dates. You shouldn't be paying a lot of money. That's for damn sure. Okay. Yeah. But anyways, that's it on the daddy thing. And last thing here I wanted to mention was about, they say that they want, you have that woman. Let's just say a chemist, okay? So I don't have to jump around. Let's say the boss babe wants to be a chemist. She knows in her heart she's a chemist, okay? It's first and foremost. Okay, being a mom or a wife is below that. She knows in her heart her life has got to be dedicated for chemistry, right? And so what does she do? She goes and gets a 4-year degree, right? She becomes a chemist. And let me tell you, any job you get, I don't care. I mean, not every job, obviously. But most jobs that you get a job, you do one thing. Meaning, if you're a chemist, like I used to work at this factory, right? And we used to mix chemicals up, mixer, dump them in an auger. The auger would go out, and they'd dump it into a bag. Bag would be sewed up, and the guy would put the bag on a pallet, right? Fill the pallet up, shrink wrap it, and put it on the truck, right? Go out to the stores, Lowe's and whatever. You had a chemist, right? You had a chemist that worked there at that place. And what they did was each mix that we did, we would take 3 bags, you know, a little bit over here, a little bit over here, a scoop over here, put them into like a Ziploc bag. You take them down to the chemist, and the chemist would make sure that the ratio was right, to make sure that it was mixed up enough, basically. You know what I'm saying? They would do some tests. They would make little patties of them sometimes and put them in the oven. They would do other kind of chemical tests. But my whole point is, that's all they did. Okay? Those chemists, that's all they did. They tested those. You know, we probably had, 50 different chemicals, we sold, that was, and another 50 chemicals that we mixed together to make those 50 chemicals that we sold, but they just did that one thing. They didn't learn any more chemistry. Once they got their job, that was it. They learned what they had to do for their job, and then that was it for the learning. Then it was just repetition. They just repetitiously tested these chemicals as we made them. There was no, how is that? Like, I need to be a chemist, so I need to learn everything about chemistry, but you don't. You don't really. When you get a job, you just do a repetitious thing over and over and over and over again that is a very tiny, 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 tiny part of a chemistry. The same way with any other degree that you get, you know what I mean? Like, let's say you go for nuclear, you want to be a nuclear physicist, right? So you go to college, then you get your job. Let's say you get a job at a nuclear power plant, right? Then you like kind of tunnel focus, on what you learn everything about that, your job at that plant, right? How to make the rods go in and take the rods out, and if this happens, you do that. But once you learn that, that's it. There's no learning. There's no like doing different experiments every day, you know what I mean? No, you do the same thing over and over and over and over and over. And this is why I want some man, if you have a woman that wants to be a boss baby, they say, I got to be a chemist. You know what I mean? I just have to be, man. Ask them this, right? That doesn't sound like you're actually being a chemist when you get a job, right? Because you're limited to a very tiny part of chemistry or physics or whatever you get into. You're a tiny sliver of your field you're working in, and then you just keep doing that over and over. Whatever they taught you to do, you just do it over and over and over and over and over and over again. You know what I mean? Like if you work in a plant where they make wafers, for solar heater panels or whatever, and you got to test the wafers. That's all they do all day. They do the same test over and over and over again on every batch that comes out. They're just doing the same thing. They're not learning anything. They're not being chemists or whatever, whatever degree they needed to get that job. They're not doing it. They're just doing a monotonous over and over activity. Okay. Now, if anyone who knows me, they know that I have a YouTube channel called John Black Super Chemist. That's why I always introduce myself as John Black Super Chemist. I like chemistry. I like all sciences. The hard sciences like physics, chemistry. The only soft science I like is psychology. But anyways, I do experiments. You can see I've got at least 350 videos up there, all just doing experiments, all different experiments, making different functional groups, doing actually doing chemistry. Okay, because at heart, I'm a scientist. You know what I mean? Like deep down, that's what I am. I'm a scientist, right? But you see the difference, though? Because I'm a scientist, I do it even for free. Okay. That girl, I guarantee you, the girl that your boss babe, you're going to get ready to marry, right? I guarantee you, if you ask her, well, why can't you, if you're really a chemist, wouldn't it make more sense to get married and buy a $1,000 lab, or even buy a couple $100 lab? You know what I mean? You can do a lot of experiments with, if you have just spend a couple $100 on a lab. And you're doing different experiments. You're not just doing the same experiment over and over and over and over and over again. You're actually learning stuff and doing that. That's what makes it fun, because you can do different experiments. Damn it. Okay, so I think that's time up. You all remember, Pastafarian God is the only one and true God.
That's why he loves family and he loves you.